Okay, as you can see here, one thing these people do is play with your libido, play with your sexual arousals. It's so disgusting, but that's how they torment a lot of us target individual. They play the sexual arousal, they manipulate the sexual arousals in ways that just disturb you. It's something that they've been doing on others to the point where when this person was listing all the different, this is number 6, I guess, all the different things this technology can do specific to target individual. One number 6 is the technology that can sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousals. For me, it's been the same. Of course, they can turn it off, but for me, it's been just maximizing the ability to turn on the sexual arousals and do whenever they want it to disturb me. Now, it's been a lot of nastiness to the point where I was like, I just wish I could take something to just completely turn my libido off so they can't mess with me. And so there's been a lot of this nasty thing. And listen to how these bottom feeders are creating manipulations. Target individuals, we are tormented. The brain is manipulated, and imaginations and creations of thoughts can be implanted. It's meant to push us to insanity. There is something happening to me, and I don't want to go into details, where I'm inspecting myself. In privately for private reason. I don't. That's all I need to say. And I had to inspect myself. And while inspecting myself, I decided, you know what, I need to use a flashlight to make sure and kind of inspect and see what's happening. I don't know if it's something serious or it's something based on what's happening to me. They are drying me via this directed energy, so I decide to look and see if it's a true problem, or is it just the reactions of what they're doing to me in the sense of the directed energy. I don't know. And I've been looking at myself and Googling things in that private way. So I go check myself, I look at myself, and I'm like, okay, let me use my phone to turn on, to use the flashlight. At some point, I don't know, I accidentally pressed the camera phone, or the camera phone was there before. Anyways, so the camera was there, or somehow it got to that point. I don't know the exact details of how it got there. I don't know if it was me who accidentally pressed something. I don't know. But that's not the issue. And immediately, my eye just kind of go like at the bottom corner of the camera. And that's where you can see the previous picture of what you've taken. I don't know what it is. I can just see like a blur. I'm not sure. I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't know, because this thing is just disgusting. They can associate things and combine things that shouldn't. Like, it's just, my brain is so manipulated that they can, if I see something, they can start combining whatever I've seen with whatever I'm doing and turn that thing into something sexual. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope whatever picture in the corner there is not inclusive of a child. But I don't know what it is. I'm going to look at it after. I'm going to inspect what it is after I'm done checking myself and see how I'm looking in that private area. And I'm sorry to be graphic like that, but I think that's telling the full story of what's happening to me is necessary as a target individual, because they do all kind of things to torment us. And I want to vocally say everything that's happening to me. So I'm looking at the private place where I want to look into, and I'm using the flashlights and making sure that if it's something serious or not. As I'm doing that, I start hearing the neighbors and their children start making noise campaign. The little kids. And you know that when they do that, it's meant to start making you think of children while you are in this vulnerable state. And combine these things together. It's so nasty. It is so foul. They do these foul things. And it's just like, oh, I was like, I can't do that, because my brain is already being hacked. Even without this child making noise campaign, they will be like forcing me to have different thoughts as I'm just making sure that I'm okay. And now adding this kid to this mix is just too much. So I stopped what I'm doing. I put everything back where it needs to be. And I'm like, oh, by the way, what was the picture of what they were doing to me? Like, what was the picture of this thing they wanted me to like think of? Because I could see the blur, but I wasn't sure if it was like child in it or whatever. I was like, okay, I'm gonna verify that once I done doing what I need to do in regard inspecting and looking at myself, making sure that everything looks healthy. When I'm packed up and I look at the picture, I see it's a picture of my friend and his baby, adorable baby on and he's like, like the little kangaroo thing. And it's like, oh gosh, this is so nasty. And immediately it started making me imagine while I was inspecting myself and combining this baby. It's so nasty. After the fact that I already packed myself, like everything is put back in places way before I looked at this picture. They start combining this thing, and in my brain they start creating these thoughts. It's like, oh, you know what? The reason why you wanted your phone is actually because you wanted to look at your the picture of this picture of your friend and the daughter, and basically you were trying to do something to yourself while looking at like completely fabricated stories. And making noise campaign is like, oh, we caught you. You see, that's what you're trying to do. It's like, this is so nasty, because you're gonna hear the reality that these people live in this it's so disturbing, live in this like reality where they create these fantasies of theirs and want you to identify to this. You know that these entities truly work for these people doing this noise campaign, gaslighting you, work for entities where pedophilia is truly an issue. And their task is to make you believe these nasty manipulations. It's funny they call it being at war. It's so disturbing. What kind of war? You're not at war. You just accepted to sell yourself to pedophiles. You just stop respecting yourself, and then you start calling it being at war. You live a delusional reality that you want me to subscribe to, and you want me to identify with these disturbing ways of thinking. But for me, it's like it's simple. And it's funny right now that I remember what you did as a kid. It's like, are you serious? You're that pathetic. It got to that point. Right now in your life, this life that is going to be limited. This is what your life has gone to. And then tell yourself you're at war. There is no amount of screaming and torture that's going to compensate for that. You're just a pathetic human being now. Me, I'm pathetic in the sense that I'm being tortured, that I can't even be myself. You're pathetic because you chose to live this disgusting, disturbing life. And now you're even lying to yourself that you're at war. It's so disturbing. But then they start bringing up things that they did early on. Right after August 19, 2019, that's the date I always remember, because it's the date that my thoughts, my body, my reaction no longer were mine. That's when synthetic telepathy, which is the ability to manipulate you in so many ways, including sexual arousals, including all these different ways. That's when it started. And unfortunately, the first, I would say 7-8 months or so, almost, about the first like 10 months, almost a whole year, I didn't know about target individual. I didn't know what was happening to me specifically. I knew it wasn't me. I was talking about, like, I sent emails, and not even emails, letters to newspapers and news media outlets, thinking that this was unique to me, not understanding what was happening, right? But they were playing my sexual arousals at a level that is even worse than now. Because initially what they do is they kind of train your brain. It's like the initial is an extreme level of conditioning, and to condition you in these disgusting pedophilia ways. Because it's been so long of them doing the same thing, they don't need to be as aggressive in the stimulations. Because I've been stimulated and conditioned in this way for X amount of years that now it's just I'm already like mentally traumatized to the point where it's just they don't even need to do it. Just me even seeing a child is disturbed me, because I know what they done to me before. And so initially, they would play with me in a sense that I didn't even know who I was talking to. I didn't know the level of manipulation that was happening to me. They were manipulating me in so many ways. My brain was being manipulated, but I didn't understand at what level. I knew it was not me, but I was like, I'm being manipulated. And they would create these dialogues, and dumb me at the time, not understanding that all these dialogues is to try to kind of like what's the word? Not trap you, but try to get oh, gotcha, okay, or you see, and you like, oh, you guys were kind of influencing me to think this way, to create this like weird ways of like addressing what I just said, like changing what I'm saying or what I'm trying to think of, but they're changing in different ways. So as you can see, the sexual arousals is something they do, but of course what they do is aim it toward children. And it was so disgusting. And they would make me have like these dialogues, I remember. And I think I heard children outside, and they'll force me to get stimulations. They're like, you see, like it's like they'll make me think, oh, could you actually climax? And I'm like, well, of course, because you are cranking up my sexual arousal. It will not take it will take 2 seconds. And I would like hear children outside screaming, and it's like, yeah, you can climax. And I was like, of course I can climax, because you are forcing me to get sexual arousals. They are controlling me to have sexual arousals. And in my mind, as they bring that up, they make me think specifically of Black Little Girl. Now, the nasty stimulations and arousal they make me experience when I saw little black girls, it was so nasty. It was so disgusting. But at that time, it was just like, in general, any kids, these little babies, you can, because of how forced you are forcing me to get sexual arousal, it will be easy for me to climax, because you are manipulating my sexual arousals. You are manipulating me to experience these nasty things. The wind can blow, and it'll be because you are playing with my sexual arousal. So of course, I'm dumb me at the time. I'm thinking like in a rational, logical way, not understanding that what they say. Oh, you see, that's proof. I was like, what? Look at my phone. I started looking. I had this old phone, this silver phone, and I'm looking. I was like, right now, if I look at this, I'm so sexually aroused that I can start feeling stimulation. I was looking at it, it's like, oh my gosh, they're stimulating me, and they're playing my arousal. I was like, this can make me climax. That's how intense it was. I was looking at it, and I was like, I'm getting stimulations. I'm looking at the phone, I'm getting forced stimulation. It was crazy. I was like, this is insane. By looking at this phone right now, and they were, of course, cranking up my sexual arousals. And it's like, this can happen. And they were just playing my libido big time. So I was like, yes, of course. Look at what's up with this phone. It's because I'm being manipulated somehow. And even now they try to even create some trap of sayings or like some gadget. It's like, no, they were manipulating me to have sexual arousals and aim those toward children. And I was like, yes, I would climax because you are manipulating me to have these reactions. Some of them, sometimes they climaxed. The arousals were so intense and so disturbing. It was like, oh my gosh, it's just like, and so today what they're trying to do is like, when I was saying that, they tried to make me think of like a black little girl. Now, I wasn't thinking of a black little girl specifically, but I was thinking about just the way they make me have this forced reaction toward children, period. For example, I can hear children outside. Right now, they can, I was like, I know, I can climax in 2 seconds because of how they force me to get sexual arousals. You see this, number 6, literally saying that. Let me read this. It says, number 6.
Any part of the body.
Listen to this.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
It can make the target individual feel sexual arousals. This is what they were doing to me. And it was just very intense, sometimes more intense than others, and they can like change the level of intensity. At one point, I remember a goat. Oh my gosh, there was a baby goat. They did this intense. I saw a baby goat. They made me have an intense sexual arousal. It is disgusting what what they do. Now at this point, they try to gauge things a little bit smoother, right? They do it. Of course, they aim it toward children, of course, but they try to be a little smooth, because now that my brain has been too conditioned, it's like they don't need to be as intense. For example, they used to do a lot of sexual dreams toward children. These pedophilia dreams they do. Now they don't need to do that as much, because they at one point it was every night. Every night there was some kind of sexual dream, and toward children. If not every night, every other night, that will make me wake up sweating. Now is maybe every once in a while. I don't even sweat anymore. I've been just too desensitized. So now the way they try to recreate the story is like, oh, you say you could, huh? Oh, you see, it's like, yes, I could climax because you are creating this nasty sexual arousals. Now you're going back in my memories and changing a little bit of when I was saying that's how I was saying that. I was like, I hear children right now, or there's kids around here. You can make me feel sexual. Well, the climax. I'm so forced to get arousals that I can easily climax because you manipulate me this way. This is because you make me feel this intense feeling toward children. It's so nasty. And right now what they're doing is like they make me think of black little girl and give me the sexual arousals that they make me have. As you see, it's like, yes, that's what you do to me. It's nasty. You have destroyed my libido in these disgusting ways, to the point where I almost don't even want to have a libido. Children are now conditioning my brain for me to have sexual arousals. And that's the things they do. It's been disgusting. And I remember when, they're like, oh, now you are, you see. It's like, no, you make me think of, for example, right now, I was just speaking, they make me think of a black little girl and give me sexual arousals. And they're like, no, our girls. Now, the disgusting part is, these people are so nasty. You understand that, first of all, this reaction is something they forced me to experience. It's not something natural. It's not something organic. It's nothing this is nothing that I would ever experience if it was me. But I'm no longer myself. I'm no longer in control of who I am, of myself. I'm now being controlled and manipulated. I've accepted this is what this technology can do. Now, I've shown how validated I am. Listen to this woman. Her name is Mary. You've heard that many times. They do this disgusting pedophilia ways. Not only sexually, but even thoughts are manipulated in disgusting ways. And this is what they were doing. And this is what they're still doing. And this is what they're going to continuously do. And then everybody around you are going to try to make you feel guilty for these disgusting manipulations. And by the way, at the end, listen to the horrible things that you're going to realize these entities have as an issue. Now, listen to this woman and her disturbing manipulations that are very similar to mine.
Slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use A people, better said young people, also children and homosexual. September 9th, '07. Anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say. I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the palpitations in my genitals for what I'm thinking, and since the attack comes so quickly, I realized my programming has been set on auto, in their central computers. No handlers could do something like this that quick. What make me realized, the slaves are desperate to get me. Unfortunately for them, they are facing a strong wall where no matter how much their computers EAP me, I know I'm not changing. As I said, I feel like they've been set up a beam where I feel constantly stimulated. I'm talking sexually, like a heat in my genitalia.
Just like her, some point it was more intense than others. Anything could have, like, even the pressure on, a little bit of pressure on my private, it was so intense. And just like her, they aimed those like stimulations toward children. It was so nasty, and still nasty because it's still happening today. And it feels like, I don't know, boom. Like, it doesn't even, sometimes it got to a point where I didn't even have to see, like, if there's a kid around me, they start giving me the sensation ahead of time. And I'll be like, why is that? Why am I feeling this? And I turn around, that's because it's a child. It is so disturbing all the time, to the point where it traumatizes me. Kids are like the most wholesome is just turned into some nastiness. And so you can see that these people have these tactics of using your libido to torment you. Now listen to this. Pedophilia is obviously a tactic you utilize. And they want you to subscribe. They want you to subscribe and identify with these nasty manipulations. This trash, listen to this.
Somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
So you hear this person saying that they have this nasty pedophilia thoughts. I was saying that, I hear somebody say, and they use these childlike individuals via V2K, which is the voice to call technology, the ability to project voices into your head, and you hear them full on character mode, and they think that they sound mistakeful, but it sounds like a child who wants to stop reality. And you hear them say, you pay for it. It might be. It's like, oh my gosh, these bottom feeders. Of course, the reason why she's saying that is because you hear the obviousness that there is a tactic specifically to torment people in these pedophilia ways. But it doesn't end there. Please listen to the rest.
Referred to as malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my...
Baby powder, the smell baby powder and do the pedophilia type of torture. I bet you there is sexual stimulations inclusive to that, meaning that they make her think of babies and then stimulate her sexually. They do these nasty things to torment us. And then they want you to identify with that. It's like, oh, you see? Oh, you could, yeah, right? You could get... It's like, yes, because you stimulate me. I could climax because you are sexually arousing me using this technology. And all it would take is a little bit of pressure, and that's it. You are climaxing, you are arousing me so much that I can climax. These people are disgusting pedos. Let me say this: the reason why I call them pedos is not only because they use this program, they use this tactic within this program to the target individual. It's because the reality. Now, these people want to make themselves believe anything but the reality that this is obviously a mass government program where the government is using this very advanced technology and utilizing human subjects, men, women, and children, in so many ways. They torture women in horrible ways, not only psychologically but physically, just like me. Sexually torture, doing horrible, destroying their life, this complete destruction of their life, just like me. That's why when I hear these people speaking to me via V2K, I'm like, you're such a clown and such a fraudulent trash, because I've heard the testimonials, the horrible testimonials of not only the women that they torture sexually, but even children, sexually torturing children. This is something that, I've obviously brought up over and over because I know the reality where they are. They want to escape. They want to be something else. They want to be this femme fatale fierce, when the reality they're just some cowards, low-life trash who are trying to create a psyop where they are some kind of avenging, fierce individual, when the cowardness is beyond earth. It is beyond earth. It's so disturbing. It is so disturbing, but I see them as that. They were supposed to create this fantasy. I'm not subscribing to that fantasy. And reality of the entities running this program, what they project onto us, target individual, is crazy how similar, in actuality, the people in this program, running this program, actually are those, and those things they've tried to make us be target individual. This pedophilia type of torture you heard, the entities running this program are filled with pedophiles. Listen to this.
Recently endorsed and helped pass key legislation in Congress, the End National Defense and Network Abuse Act. The provision, authored by Senator Brain Schatz, D. High, and co-sponsored by Senator Lisa Murkowski RAK, is included in the annual National Defense Authorization Act and is expected to be signed into law. The End Network Abuse Act would assist the Pentagon in stopping the Department of Defense's DoD illegal use of the government network to view, possess, trade, and even produce child pornography. Millions of child sexual abuse images are being shared across the internet. Over 45 million online photos and videos were reported to tech companies in 2018 alone. The use of child pornography is not limited to the DoD, but data from 2018 revealed the DoD's network ranked 19th out of 2,891 nationwide networks when it came to peer-to-peer trading of child pornography.
The DoD has extreme issue with pedophilia, that a bill went through, or a bill was created specifically to assist the Pentagon in stopping this disturbing thing you just heard, to stop the accessing the sharing and the producing of child porn using the Department of Defense network, because this network is ranked 19th out of 2,900. 19th. This is in 2018. I don't know what the rank now, but I'm sure it's still up there. And so you hear this obvious issue that's ongoing in these entities, the Department of Defense. And this is not specific to the Department of Defense. The intelligence community as a whole has an issue, but the CIA has their own disturbing issues. Listen to this. This is coming from the BuzzFeed article that came out in 2021, December 2021. Listen to some of the nasty things that come up.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired.
This is a CIA agent caught doing something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old.
purchase sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor.
And it goes on. If you go to that BuzzFeed article, you hear some terrible things. You hear a CIA agent leaving his laptop unattended, and while leaving his computer unattended. And what what happened is they see child porn. You know what his excuse was? Like, oh, I travel, I was out of the city, out of the town, or out of the country, sorry, and there was some kind of mix-up, and somebody had my computer, and somebody probably put this thing in me, like all these things, right? It's so random. They weren't trying to bust these people. This is like accidental. But this problem has been a pattern that this BuzzFeed article keeps calling out, as the CIA has been the worst out of all of them. So this is just truly disturbing, how they try to get you to accept these manipulations and play with this your mind in this weird ways, in this pedophilia, to make you accept, as if they got you. Oh, you see, no, you're making me think this way, and you're making me have these reactions. The reactions and the thoughts are being manipulated at the same time. It's synchronized. It's disgusting. And then they have these bottom feeders like them. These bottom feeders who are perps contracted by these governmental entities to make you accept these manipulations as if it's happening or organically. Right now they tell me how they're going to break my bones and I'm going to have a cast. Okay, my bones are being fragilized, and I will probably have an issue there sometime soon. I'm surprising every day. I'm like, is it today? But the reason why they're saying that is because I'm bringing up the obvious manipulation of these issues that they want you to identify to. They are these low-life bottom feeders that do this pedophilia type of torture and want you to identify with this nastiness. I will never identify or subscribe to this manipulation. I know who I am, and I know this trash forced us to get this nasty manipulation. Listen to these things.
Form of torture. They coordinate the voices and thought manipulation with the physical torture.
You hear the coordination is super, like the way they just do everything at this, it's just at the speed of thoughts. It's just pure manipulations of it. This technology is extremely sophisticated, and it's just so how advanced and precise. And you gotta understand it's because they've done that onto so many people that this technology gets better and better and better as it's implemented onto other people, and there's many other people. There's a lot of other people, a lot of individuals being tortured these ways, and it's consistent and it's systematic. And I'm just one of those many samples where they're going to get the improvement they need and then continuously implement that onto the next target individual. That's what they're willing to spend so much money, is because this technology is this advanced. And those opportunists, these perps, want to enjoy this. I'm sure the financial incentives are great, but I'm also even the empowerment they get. The ability to manipulate human beings in this fashion, as disgusting as it is still an empowering feeling. You feel probably like a god. You feel like you're so empowered that you have the ability to do so much to somebody. And anything, you have no shame. You can have no shame in regard of the manipulation. If you're ashamed, it's not for you. They are just the low life, the bottom feeders, the nothings. In so many ways, but in here, oh my gosh, you know how many times they call themselves gods? I'm like, please continue. Please, and say with attitude too, please. And then you see who's talking, like, yeah, please, you should say that all the time. But they do these things, and obviously because this technology is just amazing. Listen to this woman talk about V2K. which V2K and synthetic telepathy is about the same thing. It's just the ability to manipulate thoughts in ways that you can't even understand. Listen to that.
K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just.
So, with this level of validation, it's just okay. It's just your brain needs to be manipulated in so many ways to to ignore all these obvious testimonials and validations. And truly, my brain is this messed up that even with all these validations, you are so manipulated. Your brain no longer is rational. It's being manipulated to have a logic that is controlled by this trash that call themselves gods. And if you see who these gods are, you understand. So to all my target individual, I make my testimonials heard, as not because I think so many are going to listen, but that's my purpose. And when I'm no longer able to do any of that, I can feel at peace knowing that I did my part. So to all my target individuals, please don't ever identify. Do not be subscriptive of these manipulations, whatever nasty narrations and creations they've created. I know my brain is for them to be manipulating, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I just gotta understand that just do not go with whatever your brain is going. It's no longer your brain. You're no longer you. You have not been you for 4 years, more than 4 years. So speak about what you're going through when you can, and then know that you're dignified. I rather die this way, in these painful ways, than having to live life like them. They are themselves. They've chosen this. You heard the nastiness I just said. They woke up, chose this nastiness to be immersed in this world of cowardness, pedophilia-centric, disturbing life for whatever incentives.